I still remember the exact moment my stomach dropped. It was an everything felt normal to normal. The halls were loud, people were laughing, couples were showing off their gifts, and then I got to my locker and everything changed. There was a red paper heart taped right in the center, not just stuck there casually, but placed neatly like someone had taken their time. It was folded in half like a classic Valentine card. My name wasn't on the outside, no hint, no clue. I just stood there for a second, staring at it, feeling this weird mix of excitement and unease. I finally pulled it off and opened it. Inside, there was only one line: "Come to the clearing behind the soccer fields after school." No name, no signature, nothing. At first, I laughed it off, thinking maybe it was one of my friends messing with me, or maybe, just maybe, it was someone I liked, finally making a move in some dramatic movie-style way. But as the day went on, that feeling shifted. Every time I asked someone, I got the same reaction: confused faces, shrugs. It wasn't me. Even my closest friends swore they had nothing to do with it. By lunch, the excitement had turned into quiet, creeping nervousness, but still I couldn't ignore it. After school, I made the decision I probably shouldn't have. I went. Behind the school, past the empty practice fields and quiet bleachers, there was a narrow dirt path that cut through the woods. Everyone knew about it. It led out toward the soccer fields, but halfway through there was an open clearing, hidden just enough to feel private. That's where the note told me to go, and that's exactly where I was headed. The deeper I walked into the trees, the quieter everything got. No voices, no cars, just the sound of my shoes on dirt and branches snapping under my feet. When I reached the clearing, I stopped. No one was there. I checked my phone. I wasn't early. If anything, I was a little late. "Hello," I called out, my voice sounding smaller than I expected. Nothing, just wind brushing through the trees. I told myself to relax. Maybe they were running late. Maybe they were watching, waiting for the right moment. So I stayed and waited. Then I heard it, a soft rustling from the trees to my left. I turned quickly, my heart already starting to race. At first, I couldn't see anything, just shadows between the branches, and then someone stepped out. It was a guy, about my age, maybe a little older. I didn't recognize him at all, and that hit me instantly. In a school where you kind of know everyone's face, his was completely unfamiliar. He didn't smile or wave, he just stood there, staring at me like he'd been expecting this moment for a long time. "Hey," I said, forcing a small, awkward smile. "Did you leave the note?" He nodded once, slow, and something about the way he moved made my chest tighten. "I didn't think you'd actually come," he said. His voice was calm, too calm. I let out a small laugh, trying to ease the tension. "Yeah, well, here I am." Silence stretched between us, then he took a step closer. Instinctively, I stepped back. "Why here?" I asked, my voice a little sharper now. He tilted his head slightly, like he was thinking about how to answer. "Because no one comes here this time of year. It's quiet." That's when it really hit me how quiet it was. No distant voices, no sounds from the fields, just us and the woods. I felt a chill run down my spine. "Okay," I said slowly, already glancing behind me toward the path. "So what did you want?" For a second, he didn't answer, then he smiled, and it wasn't a normal smile. "I just wanted to see if you would," he said. My stomach dropped. "What?" I asked. "If you'd come," he repeated. People always say they're careful, but they're not. Every alarm in my head went off at once. I didn't say anything else. I just turned and started walking back toward the path, trying not to run, trying not to show how scared I suddenly was. Behind me, I heard him laugh softly. "Relax," he called out. "I'm not going to chase you." I didn't stop or look back, but I could feel the weight of his eyes on me the entire way out of those woods. I didn't tell anyone right away. I didn't even know how to explain it without sounding dramatic. But the next day, when I got to my locker, there was another heart. This time, it wasn't folded, and written across the front in the same handwriting were 3 words: "You came back." The moment he said, "You can't leave," something inside me froze. Not fear at first, just this sharp, gut feeling that I had made a mistake coming there alone. He stood a few steps away from me in the clearing, half hidden by the trees. Around my age, maybe 17 or 18, but I knew without a doubt I had never seen him before. Not in class, not in the hallways, not anywhere, and that made everything worse. "Hey," he said again, like we were just 2 normal people meeting after school. "Hi," I replied, trying to keep my voice steady. He smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. "So you got my card?" I nodded slowly. Yeah, I did. It was nice. Thank you. The words felt fake even as I said them. His smile widened. Good. Because that means you're my Valentine. My stomach dropped. I've been watching you for a while. He added like it was something sweet. It wasn't. Every part of me felt tense now. I tried to play it cool, glancing around like maybe someone else would appear, like this was some kind of joke. But it wasn't. He took a small step closer. So, he said, "Are you ready to go?" I blinked. Go where? It's a surprise. That was it for me. I forced a small, polite smile and took a step back. Actually, I should head home. My parents are expecting me. I turned slightly, already planning my path back through the trees. Then his voice changed. You can't leave. It wasn't loud, but it was sharp, different, like a switch had flipped. I looked back at him, my heart starting to pound. I'm sorry, I said quickly. I really have to go. He started walking toward me. I didn't wait this time. I turned and began heading toward the path, faster now. Before I could take more than a few steps, I felt a hand clamp tightly around my arm. I gasped and spun back. Wet? He said, gripping me just a little too hard. Let go. I snapped, panic rising in my chest. Who are you? I told you, he said. I go to your school. That doesn't mean anything. I shot back. I don't even know your name. His expression shifted, almost annoyed. I see you every day, he said. By your locker. In the halls. You just don't notice. That made my skin crawl. I've never had a class with you? I said no. He admitted. But I know you. I shook my head, trying to pull my arm free. That's not how this works. I'm not going anywhere with someone I don't even know. For a second, his grip tightened, and I genuinely thought I was going to have to fight him. Then something changed. His shoulders dropped slightly. His face softened, like he was suddenly realizing how this looked. Okay, he said quietly, and he let go. I didn't wait. I stepped back immediately and turned, walking as fast as I could toward the path. My legs felt shaky, but I forced myself not to run. Behind me, I heard footsteps, not fast, not chasing, just following. Where are you going? I didn't stop. Home. Wait, he said. We can hang out later, somewhere else. No, I said louder this time. I can't. You don't even know me? He replied. That's exactly why. I shot back. There was a pause behind me. Then, softer, almost disappointed, he said, but you came. I didn't answer. I kept walking, staying on the path, not daring to look back this time. Thanks for the card. I called out after a few seconds, just to end it. But I'm gonna pass. He didn't respond. The footsteps stopped, and somehow that silence felt even worse. The sound came so softly at first I thought I imagined it. Tap, tap, I froze in my chair. It was late, around 10 p.m., and I had been scrolling on my phone, trying to forget everything that had happened earlier that day. I kept telling myself it was over, that I had walked away, said no, and that was the end of it. Tap, tap, tap. This time louder, right behind me. My room was on the first floor, and my window faced the side yard. Slowly, I turned my head, and my heart nearly stopped. He was standing right there, outside my window, the same guy from the woods. For a second, I couldn't move. My brain just refused to catch up with what I was seeing. He wasn't supposed to know where I lived. That wasn't possible. But there he was, staring straight at me. I jumped up so fast my chair slammed into the wall. Without thinking, I rushed over and yanked the curtains shut, my hands shaking as I pressed them tight against the glass, like that would somehow block him out. I didn't look again. I couldn't. I ran out of my room and down the hallway. Dad! I called, my voice cracking. There's someone outside my window! My dad didn't even question it. He got up immediately and headed for the front door. I stayed back, my chest pounding so hard it felt like I couldn't breathe. A few seconds later, I heard the door swing open, then footsteps, then my dad shouting, "Hey!" I rushed to the living room, but didn't go outside. From the doorway, I could see a figure sprinting down the street, disappearing into the dark. My dad came back in a minute later, scanning the street one last time before shutting the door. He's gone, he said. Do you know who that was? I nodded slowly. Yeah, I think so. And I told him everything about the note, the clearing, the way he grabbed my arm, the way he said I couldn't leave. My dad's expression changed as I spoke, calm at first, then serious, then angry. That's not okay, he said firmly. I barely had time to process anything before my phone buzzed in my hand. A notification. Someone had added me on Snapchat. I stared at the username for a second. I didn't recognize the name, but somehow I already knew. I accepted it. The message came instantly. Why did you run? My stomach turned. So this was him. This was how he found me. I didn't bother being polite anymore. "Leave me alone," I typed back. "If you come near my house again, I'm calling the police." The reply came fast, angry, messy, full of insults. He started calling me names, saying I embarrassed him, saying I whored him for showing up earlier. I just stared at the screen, feeling that same mix of fear and disbelief. This wasn't normal. This wasn't just some awkward guy. This was something else. Without replying again, I blocked him immediately. When I told my parents, they didn't hesitate. The next morning, they contacted the school and reported everything. And apparently, I wasn't the first. A few days later, I heard through other students that he had done similar things before, following girls, watching them, crossing lines no one should ever cross. This time, it finally caught up to him. He got into serious trouble, and then he was gone. I never saw him again. Not in the halls, not outside, nowhere. Which is strange, because after everything he said about watching me, about seeing me every day, you'd think I would have at least recognized his face before all of this. But I didn't, not once. And honestly, that's the part that still bothers me the most. Out of every experience I've ever had, that one is the only one I'll never forget. I don't really live an exciting life, but whenever someone asks me for a scary story, this is always the one I share. I was 15 back then, just about to begin my sophomore year of high school. I grew up in a normal beach town, completely packed with tourists during summer. But the moment the season ended, it turned into something else entirely, almost empty, almost lifeless. All the bars and restaurants would shut down, leaving behind only the locals, the open sky, and the endless ocean. If you've never visited a beach during the off-season, I'd seriously suggest it. It feels strange, quiet in a way that's hard to explain, but at the same time, weirdly peaceful. It might sound cliche, but our house was on a street called Surf Avenue, just 1 block away from the beach. And yeah, I actually knew how to surf. Honestly, it would have been pretty embarrassing if I lived on Surf Ave and didn't. I spent my entire childhood there, so the boardwalk and the sand weren't just places to me, they were part of my everyday life, almost like part of who I was. I don't live in that exact house anymore, but it's still owned by my family, so it feels like a piece of me is still there. Back then, I was on my high school varsity cross country team, and I was kind of obsessed with staying in shape even during the off season. Summers by the shore get insanely hot, so I usually ran either very early in the morning or late at night, times when the heat wouldn't destroy me and I wouldn't have to dodge crowds of people. That night, I chose to run late. I had stayed up really late with friends the night before and ended up sleeping in, so I didn't really have another option. One thing about me, I never took my phone on runs. It sucked not having music, but even a little extra weight would throw off my rhythm. I don't even know if they still exist, but I used to wear this cheap little Garmin watch to track my distance and pace. Other than that, the only thing I carried was my house keys. My parents were extremely strict about keeping the house locked, no matter what. Even if they were home, I still had to carry my keys every single time I went out. It was one of those rules I couldn't argue with. Honestly, I never understood why they were so paranoid, especially since beach towns like ours are usually pretty safe, but I didn't have a choice. That night, I decided to run along the boardwalk. The surface was perfect, not too hard on my legs like pavement, but not as exhausting as running on sand. Sometimes I'd run on the beach just to challenge myself, but not that day. I just wanted a smooth, easy, long run without dealing with uneven ground. The boardwalk was perfect for that. After a few miles, I started to zone out, falling into that familiar runner's high. Even now, I tell people, once you push past that first mental barrier, usually around 3 miles, running actually starts to feel good, almost effortless. I was completely locked into my rhythm, the sound of my shoes hitting the wooden planks, the distant waves crashing somewhere in the dark. It was one of those rare moments where you forget you're even running, and then I heard it. A faint clink. I immediately stopped. My heart skipped. I reached into my pocket empty. My stomach dropped instantly. My keys. I quickly crouched down, trying to look through the cracks in the boardwalk, but it was pointless. Underneath was nothing but complete darkness. Pitch black. There was no way I could even see where they landed, let alone get them back from up there. Frustration hit me hard. I started swearing, actually yelling out loud. Yeah, it sounds stupid, but my adrenaline was still high from the run, and I was furious that this one small thing had just ruined everything. And more than that, I knew my parents would absolutely lose it if I came back without those keys. So without thinking twice, I jumped off the side of the boardwalk and dropped down onto the sand below. Part of it was necessity, but part of it, pride. There was no way I was just going to walk away and leave something of mine behind. Who even does something like that? The moment I dropped under the boardwalk, the smell hit me hard. It was awful, like rotten seaweed mixed with old, stale beer. That's honestly the closest way to describe it. Just imagine a bathtub filled with seaweed and beer left sitting for days. The air felt thick, wet, and heavy. Every step I took kicked up sand, trash, and who knows what else. Like I said before, I didn't have my phone with me. The only light I had was the weak backlight from my watch, and it barely helped at all. I crouched down right where I thought my keys had fallen. Nothing. No keys, just piles of sand and scattered garbage. I'll say it again, it was disgusting. But I needed those keys. For a second, I thought about giving up and leaving. But then I told myself I had already come this far. If I walked away now, it would mean I went through all that filth for absolutely nothing. So I kept going. I started moving the sand around with my hands, thinking maybe the keys had sunk beneath the surface. Minutes passed and still nothing. Slowly, frustration started building inside me. Did I really get the spot that wrong? After thinking about it, I convinced myself that must be it. I had just misjudged where the keys fell. So I climbed back up onto the boardwalk. I stood exactly where I had stopped running, trying to figure out how I could mark the exact spot below. And then I got an idea. I quickly knelt down, untied my shoelace, and pushed it through the gap between the wooden planks, letting it hang down. The plan was simple. When I went back underneath, I'd easily spot the lace and know exactly where to search. Simply easy. Or at least that's what I thought. As I stood back up, something pulled it. The lace suddenly tightened and then slipped straight down through the crack. Gone. Not the wind. Not me. Something from below. I froze. My mind went completely blank. I just stood there staring at the spot where my shoelace had been seconds ago. Someone was under there. There was no doubt about it. And in that moment, everything clicked. If someone was down there, then they probably had my keys too. My first instinct was to run. Just get out of there and deal with it later. But then a worse thought hit me. My house keys had my address on them. That meant whoever was down there knew exactly where I lived. I couldn't just leave. I didn't even think properly. Maybe it was stupid teenage confidence or just pure panic, but I took a deep breath and went back down. The second time felt completely different. The air felt heavier, thicker. Every movement felt louder, and this time I wasn't just searching. I was expecting something. At any second. At one point, I heard it, a faint shuffling sound somewhere ahead of me. My chest tightened instantly. I quickly turned my watch light toward the sound. Nothing. Just sand, wooden beams, darkness. I kept moving. Then I heard it again, but this time from a different direction. That's when it hit me. The sound wasn't coming from one place. There wasn't just one person down there. There were multiple, and right then, reality hit me like a truck. What was I even thinking? What did I actually expect was going to happen down there? Was I seriously about to fight some random addict living under the boardwalk? That would have been straight up suicide. The thought hit me hard, and I immediately turned to get out of there, trying my best to stay calm. I just needed to leave quietly without making things worse. But before I could make it out, something cold grabbed my ankle. Tight. It was a hand. I screamed as sharp fingernails dug into my skin. The pain shot through my leg, but I didn't stop to think. I reacted instantly. I kicked as hard as I could. My foot hit something solid, and just like that, the grip released. I didn't look back. I scrambled forward, dragging myself through the sand and wood, my arms and legs scraping against everything as I forced my way out. The second I reached open air, I got up and ran. I didn't slow down, not once. I sprinted all the way back home. When I reached the front door, I started banging on it hard until my dad finally opened it. He was furious, and honestly, that's putting it lightly. He was beyond angry. I'm surprised he didn't completely lose it right there. Before he could go off on me, I quickly explained everything. The keys, the shoelace, the people under the boardwalk, all of it. The noise woke my mom up too. At first, she was just as mad. But then she saw my ankle, the marks. Her face changed instantly. That anger turned into something else of fear. My dad didn't waste any time. He called the police right away. And the very next morning, we had a locksmith come and change every single lock on the house. For the next couple of days, things started to feel normal again. I thought it was over, just one messed up night that I'd eventually forget. But I was wrong. A few mornings later, I woke up to loud knocking at the front door. It was early, way too early. I stayed in bed for a bit, expecting one of my parents to answer it. But when neither of them did, I got up, threw on a hoodie, and went downstairs myself. I looked through the peephole, no one. Confused, I slowly opened the door and looked outside. Nothing. The street was completely empty. No people, no cars. Silence. I was just about to close the door when something caught my eye. Right there, on the doormat, a shoelace, my shoelace, the same one from that night. I didn't hesitate. I slammed the door shut immediately. That same afternoon, we had a security system installed. For weeks after that, my whole family stayed on edge, constantly worried something else would happen. But nothing ever did. Still, when I think back to that night, I can't fully make sense of it. Even now, it doesn't feel real. And even though I don't live in that house anymore, it still creeps me out knowing some random stranger out there knows exactly where our beach house is. I like it here. It's quiet. That's why, for as long as I can remember, I've gone for late night runs on the boardwalk during the off season when no one was around. It's my escape, my way to wash off the stress of life. Sometimes you just need to be away from everyone. There's something about the sound of the waves, the rhythmic slap of my sneakers on the wooden planks. It soothes you. Makes it feel like the world belongs to just you. Tonight wasn't any different. The air was sharp, smelling of salt and wet wood. The only light came from the occasional street lamp buzzing faintly, casting long, lonely shadows. I was maybe a mile in when it hit me, the feeling that someone else was there. I glanced over my shoulder. A man stood in the distance, frozen, not moving, just watching me from the boardwalk. My throat went dry. I shook my head and turned back, telling myself it was nothing. Probably just another local taking a walk. But even so, it was creepy. I kept running. A few minutes later, that feeling came back, stronger this time. My heart pounded not from running, but from fear. Curiosity made me glance back again. He was closer, still not moving, still staring. My stomach twisted with unease. I sped up, taking out the one headphone I had in. My feet pounded the wood, breath quickening. And then I heard it, footsteps matching mine, right behind me. I turned again. He was closer. Closer than before. But he still didn't move. Panic hit me. I sprinted. The boardwalk, once comforting, now felt endless, like a trap stretching in both directions. My car was at the far end, right by the beach entrance. I had to reach it. I ran harder than I ever had. Lungs burning, legs screaming, but I wouldn't stop. Every few seconds, I dared a glance behind me. Every time, he was closer, still standing, still watching. I wasn't even looking at where I was going anymore, just focused on escaping. Finally, the boardwalk exit came into view. Relief almost made me cry. My car was there. I fumbled for the keys, hands shaking so badly I could barely press the unlock button. The lights flashed. I yanked the door open, threw myself inside, and slammed it shut. I turned the key, backed out, ready to get away. But when I whipped the wheel left to turn, my stomach dropped. The man was standing in front of my car, exactly where it had just been. I only had a brief glance, but his hood was up, hiding most of his face. I spun the wheel hard to the left and almost lost control as I tore out of there. The entire way home, I didn't care. Red lights, I ran them, swerving, didn't matter. Almost spinning out, didn't even think twice. I just drove. Straight fast and without looking back. When I finally got home, I locked everything, doors, windows, every possible entrance. I didn't sleep that night, not a wink. And even now, I still get nightmares about that night. In every one, that man shows up, watching me, chasing me, some twisted version of himself. My mind tried to imagine his face since I never really saw it, and none of those images were pleasant. I haven't gone on a winter run on the boardwalk since. This happened last summer. I was 22, spending a weekend at the shore with a group of friends in the cheapest Airbnb we could find. It was the last night of our stay. We'd been on the beach all night, sitting around a bonfire, drinking, talking, nothing wild. By the end, most of my friends were ready to call it a night, but I wasn't tired. I wanted to walk off the buzz a little before heading back to the Airbnb. The boardwalk at night has a strange kind of peace. Empty streets, silent surroundings. I hadn't spent much time at the beach before, so everything felt new, quiet, and almost magical. After wandering around for a bit, I realized I really had to pee, and I'm not the type to just go in public. My friends joke about it all the time, so I had a problem. I spotted one of the public boardwalk bathrooms. Old, worn, barely lit. Not ideal, but I didn't want to hold it. I pushed the door open and immediately regretted it. The smell hit me first, bleach mixed with whatever it was trying to cover up. I decided to make it quick and headed to the farthest stall. That's when I heard it, the door creaking open again. My stomach sank. My privacy? Gone. Then came the footsteps. Slow, deliberate, moving around the bathroom. They weren't random, they were circling me. At times, I thought I heard more than one person, but I couldn't be sure. Eventually, the footsteps stopped near the sinks. Just stopped! No coughs! No water running. Nothing. Silence. I finished up, ready to leave, and pushed the stall door, but it didn't move. I jiggled the latch, still stuck. I wanted to punch it out of frustration, but then the footsteps started again. Closer this time, and my chest sank with that horrible feeling like someone was holding the door shut on purpose. I tried to shove the door with my shoulder. Nothing. Adrenaline hit hard. My brain clicked. This wasn't random. I wasn't just some unlucky person stuck in a bathroom. Someone was playing with me, and that's when I decided I wasn't going to sit there. Helpless. Targeted. Not tonight. I charged the stall door with everything I had, and finally, it gave way. I stumbled out, heart hammering. As I did, I saw the bathroom door swing shut behind me, like someone had just walked out. I scanned the room. Empty. Gone. Whoever had been circling in there vanished. I hurried to wash my hands and rushed to the exit. I grabbed the door handle, but it wouldn't turn. Not even a little. It was as if the bathroom had been locked from the outside. My stomach dropped. My mind raced. A prank. Maybe one of my friends. No, they had all left already. They didn't even know I had gone there. And honestly, this wasn't something they would ever do. Panic creeping in, I gritted my teeth and started banging on the door, yelled for someone, anyone outside to open it. Silence, then movement behind me. One of the stalls. I whipped my head around. Couldn't see anything, but I knew someone was in there. That meant there had been two people in the bathroom the whole time. No feet were visible under the doors, so they must have been standing on a toilet. My chest tightened at the thought. Calling the police? Not yet. I needed to get to safety first. I spotted a grimy window near the ceiling. Small, but my only option. I climbed onto the sink beneath it, praying it wouldn't collapse under my weight, and pushed the window open. Halfway through, one of the stall doors burst open. I locked eyes with a man, hairy, skin pale, the palest I've ever seen. He looked like a teenager in clothes, but this guy had to be at least 50. No time to think. I scrambled through the window, hitting my knee hard on the boardwalk. But I didn't care. I ran. Once I was a safe distance away, I called the cops. They arrived fast. It was a beach town after all, but by the time they checked the bathroom, the man was gone. That section of the boardwalk was completely dead. No cameras, no open shops, nothing. I showed the officers exactly what had happened. One pointed to the scratches on the bathroom door handle. Someone definitely messed with this, he said. We all agreed whoever it was didn't want me leaving. That thought alone sent chills down my spine. The officers told me I'd made the right call escaping through the window.